Are we going to have stupid politicians in the fifth dimension? I think we are focusing again at the wrong end of the stick here. It's not the politicians that are stupid. It is the people that actually listen to them, or, more importantly, the people that actually believe every word they say. That's what we need to focus on. As this quote by Mark Twain says, the most outrageous lies that can be invented will find believers if a man only tells them with all his might. This is why they wave the finger and they get really passionate, the politicians I mean, when they talk bullshit, because they have to convince people. But the politicians are playing a game for their own reasons. The reasons really don't matter. Many people say it's for money. If I were a politician, I would do it for the fun of it, to see how many idiots I could convince. Forget the money. The game is so much more important than the money. The control. Let me see how many millions of idiots I can control. I would have done it for that reason. It's a really nice game. So, focusing on the politicians won't get us anywhere. We need to focus on why are we listening to them? And again, more importantly, why do we believe them? Because we do not want to take responsibility for our lives. This is why. We want someone else to take this responsibility, and that way we don't have to get off our ass and do anything. We will just blame the politicians for not keeping us happy. So we need to focus on ourselves and not the politicians. The politicians will change in the fifth dimension simply because we will change first. We will not need them. And then these people that want to play these games to see how many other people they can convince or control or manipulate won't find a stage on which they can play on. Also, in the fifth dimension, and as we go towards the fifth dimension, we will be taking back our power, and then we won't be needing politicians, so there will be less and less of them. The only politicians that we actually will need and we will have in the fifth dimension are the mayors of cities and counties, like, I don't know what you call the person in charge of a county. Because we're going to become city-states again, not with walls and armies and things like that, but because the whole world will become one, our governments will only be for our cities, to make sure everything in our cities, our towns, runs smoothly. These are the only kinds of politicians we're going to have in the fifth dimension. But first, we're going to take our power before we can go into this. We're going to take responsibility for our lives before we go into this reality. As long as we are unwilling to take responsibility for our lives, there will be smarter people than us, because really, politicians are not stupid. There will be smarter people than us who have taken responsibility for their lives and are more than happy to take responsibility for yours as well and lead you off the cliff. So again, don't worry about the politicians. Also, the more you hear them shouting and screaming, the more unnecessary they are for your life, for your everyday life, and they're trying to convince you that you need them. This is why all this shouting. How often do you see the mayor of a city going on TV every single night and disagreeing and shouting and raising their voice? Because they're actually needed. They don't have to convince you of anything. We do need a mayor. We do need someone to keep the buses running and keep the water running. So all the other ones are doing, the other politicians, are trying to convince you that you need them. And you say, yes, I need you. Fix my life. That way I don't need to take responsibility. I can continue smoking. I can continue drinking. I can continue eating junk food. And you fix everything. You make laws to make my life better. And I'll just sit here and wait for death to come. And I'll even blame you for that. So get off your ass and do something with your life. What you do really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But take responsibility for it, though. Take responsibility for what you do. Own it, as they say. Now, the fifth dimension. Let's go a little bit to the fifth dimension. States as we know it will not exist in the fifth dimension. States meaning countries. Federations especially will not exist in the fifth dimension. There'll be no such thing as the United States of America in the fifth dimension. Each state will be its own little individual state. And because the whole world will literally become one. So, yes, there'll be no Congress, no Washington, D.C. in the fifth dimension. The city will exist. But there'll be no one trying to convince you of something, or trying to convince you that we need to attack those people because they beheaded someone. Let's see, the fifth dimension. Politics in the fifth dimension. You see, it will all be localized. We will always worry only for our neighborhood, or our town, or our city. And always try and fix that or beautify that or make sure it runs smoothly. Nothing glamorous. Politics will not be glamorous in the fifth dimension. They will be interesting though, but not in a way that they are today. Let's see. Politics in the fifth dimension. Why no states? Why no countries? Because the aliens will be here. The aliens are already here. But they will literally be walking our streets visibly to where we see them. And they will show us how many billions and billions of civilizations there are out there. When this happens, the first thing we stop doing is being a nationalist. Or identifying with our nationality, with our passport, or with our race. And we will just be humans. That's it. Or earthlings, because humans do exist in other planets as well. We will be earthlings. So once this happens, borders are not necessary anymore. Federal governments are not necessary anymore. And that's why these will slowly be abolished. But not if we do not take back our power. These so-called stupid politicians, which I keep repeating, they're not stupid at all. These politicians only exist because we give them our power. This is the only reason they exist. Once we stop doing this, they will cease to exist. They will just fade away into oblivion. And they would have to get a normal job. Now there's another thing. You might ask, why are they so obsessed with being re-elected? And they say so many lies. Well, first of all, they have to say lies, because if they said the truth, we would not elect them, because we also say lies to ourselves. So They are just representatives of who we really are. It's not the politicians that are liars. We are also liars. And I think we are much bigger liars than any politician. Because we lie to ourselves. At least a lot of politicians don't lie to themselves. They just lie to others. So, where was I going with this? I forgot. Yes. We are going to need to take responsibility for our lives. This means don't find an excuse for what you are doing. Say, yes, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm doing. This is how we take responsibility. Or, you know what? I fucked up good this time. That is taking responsibility. Take responsibility for what you've done. It's okay if it's not what others think is the best. Own it. Take responsibility for it. And then, who the politicians are don't matter. Yes, now I remember where I was going with this. Why do they want to get re-elected? Look, you make friends in politics. Friends with power. You have things to talk about. You are talked about all the time. And it's kind of an aphrodisiac. It's like being a Hollywood superstar. It's hard to leave the limelight because you are always talked about. And you see, because we don't like ourselves, if someone else talks about us, we feel alive. We feel useful. We feel like we matter. We feel like we are important. And this is what they don't want to leave. And this is why they want to get re-elected again and again. Really, it's not just the money. The money is a small part of it, maybe 30% of it. But the rest is not about the money. Also, many politicians, not every last one, but many have seen the bigger picture. They have seen the game for what it is, and they are playing it. When these politicians leave their body, not all of them, a lot of them, when they leave their body, they're going to look back and say, wow, I played it to the max. And they're going to have happy souls. No matter what they did, their soul will be happy simply because they played the game to the maximum. It's a game. This is what we don't see and we get angry at them or we get upset at them. It is a game. Get out there and start playing. Now, there is another little danger with seeing the bigger picture, I have to admit. When you really see the bigger picture, you don't even want to play anymore. You're like, look, I'll just sit here and watch others play. So there is that danger as well. It's happened to me, and I keep getting signals lately from my higher self to get back into the game and to see it as a game this time. Because of the work I do, I've seen so much of the bigger picture that I've said to myself, what's the point? Let me just sit back and enjoy it and enjoy the show. But that will be like sitting back and watching television all day. A different kind of television, but it's kind of me just sitting on my ass doing nothing. So there is that danger as well. Try not to, well, no, I can't tell you what to do. If you do fall into that trap of seeing too much of the bigger picture, you might get a nudge from your soul, like, okay, let's get up and play again. I don't know why I said this now. It has nothing to do with the question. Anyway, I'll leave it at this.